Hey guys, what is up? And in this video, I'm going to be showing you all the parts needed to build a solid $500 budget Ryzen PC. Now with this build, you can expect to run most new games released in the past couple of years at 60 FPS 1080p with no trouble at all. And before we begin on the build, I should note that prices of these parts are constantly fluctuating, so if the price has gone up, simply wait a while and it should come back down again. And I'll provide links to where you can buy all of the parts in this build in the description down below. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump straight into the build. Now kicking off this build with the CPU, I knew I wanted to go with a Ryzen 5 1400 for this build. But I really picked this CPU because not only is it a great choice for gaming, but it's also a great choice for photo and even some light video editing, which is mostly thanks to its 4 cores and 8 threads. Now if you were to try and compare this CPU to a similar one from Intel, you're probably going to be looking at the i5 7400, which is actually $40 more. And in some cases, this will actually outperform an i5 7400, which is very impressive considering its price. Out of the box, this comes clocked in at 3.2 GHz, however it can turbo boost up to 3.4 GHz when needed, and overall I'm just sure you guys won't be disappointed. Now continuing on to RAM, I chose to go with 8 GB of Crucial Ballistic Sport memory. At $55, this is a very solid deal. 8 GB is really all you're going to need for a build like this. You really don't need any more for gaming, and it is clocked in at 2400 MHz, so it will perform fairly well. On top of all of that, I chose to go with one stick of RAM. That way you always have the option to upgrade to 16 GB in the future if you ever choose to do so. And overall, this is just going to work perfectly fine in a budget build like this. For a motherboard, you really don't have to be concerned when it comes to performance, as performance is pretty much going to stay the same across the board no matter what motherboard you go with, but you really should make your purchasing decision based off of compatibility and what features you're looking for in a motherboard. And with that in mind, I chose to go with the ASROCK AB350M Pro 4 motherboard, and at $75, you're actually getting an impressive amount of features, and overall it's just a very solid all-around motherboard. Now with this, you'll have the option to upgrade to an M.2 SSD in the future if you ever choose to do so, and if you're unaware, M.2 SSDs are some of the fastest form of SSDs out right now. And you also have USB Type-C included as well, which is really nice to have, along with 6 other USB 3.0 ports. And you also have your basic stuff like a gigabit LAN port, and based off the fact that this is made by ASROCK and the fact that on Newegg it has almost 51 5-star ratings, I think it's safe to say this is a very reliable option, and I would even go as far as to say that this might be one of the best Ryzen compatible budget motherboards out there, considering that it's only $75. Now for graphics card, I was stuck in a situation where I wanted to include the GTX 1050 Ti, but after adding everything together, I only had about $100 left in our $500 budget for the GPU. With that $100, I chose to go with the GTX 1050, which, if you're willing to drop the settings a bit, you can actually achieve a 60 FPS average at 1080p in most new games released in the past couple of years. However, if your budget allows for you to spend an extra $40, I would recommend at least considering the 1050 Ti, as going with that's going to get you about 25% more performance compared to the 1050. With the 1050 Ti, you can expect to get around 60 to 70 FPS in most games like GTA 5 and Battlefield 1 at high settings 1080p. Whereas on the 1050, you may have to lower the settings a bit in order to reach that 60 FPS mark. But if you only plan on playing esports games like League of Legends and CSGO, then you'll have absolutely no problem reaching way over 120 FPS on either card. I should also note that the GTX 1050 comes with 2 GB of VRAM, while the 1050 Ti comes with 4 GB. And what I'll do is I'll make sure to leave links to both cards in the description down below, and I'll let you decide based off of what your budget allows, but I don't think you'll be disappointed either way. Now for storage, you probably could have guessed it, but I chose to go with the 1TB blue hard drive from Western Digital. These are still my go-to hard drives because of how good of a value they are. You're getting 1 TB of space for under $40, and overall this is just going to absolutely destroy any SSD in terms of price per gigabyte. Obviously it's not going to perform as well as an SSD, not nearly as well, but it's also going to give you way more space to store all of your games. And for $39, this really just makes sense in a build like this. You get 64 megabytes of cache, and at 1 terabyte of space, you should have no problems at all storing all of your movies, TV shows, music, and games on here. Now, powering all these parts, I chose to go with the EVGA 500 watt power supply. Really, this is probably one of the best value parts in this entire build. You're getting a 500 watt power supply and it's only $38, which is absolutely incredible. It's not modular or not semi-modular, but it is a very good value considering it's 500 watts and comes with a 3-year warranty. It's also 80+ certified as well. And I have actually used this exact power supply in one of my personal builds, and it's still working perfectly fine to this day, so I feel very confident recommending it to you guys. Now, moving on to the case, I kind of just chose to go with the cheapest micro ATX case I could find. I chose to go with micro ATX, that way it's easy to move around and easy to carry with you if you plan on going somewhere, or maybe you just don't want it to take up a lot of space. Overall though, micro ATX is going to be a lot more compact than a normal mid-tower case. It is going to make cable management a bit more difficult, so you might have to spend some more time tucking the cables into the corners. But overall, I think I can safely say you won't be disappointed with this case, and I have actually used this in another budget build I did, and the case has held up perfectly fine. It's not the best looking case, and it doesn't come with a side panel window, but at $30, this is one of the best value cases out there. Anyway guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Let me know if you end up building the PC, and let me know how it goes in the comments section below. And if you guys have any questions at all about this build, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments section down below. But anyway guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.